Hey guys, Alan here from Generation Tech. I finally finished the Force Awakens novel as promised. Now, it wasn't easy because this is a novelization of the script of the movie, which I've now seen a few times, but I did it so you guys don't have to. And there is a lot of new information about Rey, Finn, Poe, Kylo, Leia, Han, even C-3PO. So make sure you make it to the end of the video. It's the least you can do, because I read a whole ebook for you guys. In the opening scene, the mysterious individual who hands over the data chip to Poe Dameron is Lor San Tekka. He is a member of the Church of the Force, an organization started during the Clone Wars that believes in the ideals of the Jedi Order. Lor San Tekka was an expert in Jedi lore and worked closely with Luke Skywalker. The village where he lives is called Twanul, and it is home to members of the Church of the Force. They have eschewed modern technology in an effort to become closer to nature. Max von Sydow, who plays San Tekka, will be coming back in Episode 8 along with Harrison Ford. They most likely will be in a flashback together. Perhaps we'll even see a younger Kylo Ren in training and Luke Skywalker. In the novel, Rey and Unkar Plutt's relationship is examined deeper. Unkar considers Rey a good employee and even describes her as lovely, which kind of makes sense. After all, when she was left on Jakku, she was left with Unkar Plutt. Check out her flashback if you don't believe me. Also, the scene where Plutt offers to sell BB-8 plays out a bit differently. Rey actually gives Plutt an offer of 100 portions, and Plutt accepts and sarcastically asks, "How can I resist the force of your personality?" Yeah, Force. Author Alan Dean Foster definitely had a good time writing this. Rey, of course, doesn't sell BB-8 and storms out, winning the respect of all the other scavengers watching, which really pisses Unkar Plutt off, so much so that he reappears in Maz Kanata cantina later with a bunch of thugs. Unfortunately, he makes the stupid mistake of underestimating Chewbacca, who rips his arm off, which was probably too violent for Disney to show on screen. A lot of people are wondering how Poe crash lands on Jakku and then magically appears in an X-Wing just in the nick of time on Takodana to save the day. Here's how. Poe blacks out and regains consciousness right before his TIE fighter slams into Jakku. He manages to crash land and struggle out of the cockpit, leaving his jacket behind. He wanders through the desert and meets a Blarina scrapper, who agrees to give him a ride to Nima Outpost. Along the way, they are ambushed by bandits. Poe takes the wheel of the speeder and guides them to safety. The Blarina scrapper is so grateful that he arranges passage off of Jakku for Poe. In the novel, shortly after Finn escapes from the First Order, General Hux is going through Finn's records. We find that up till his escape, he has no record of bad behavior and, quote, no prior sign of nonconformity. This lack of warning signs really frightens General Hux. Could the rest of his troopers also have the same defect? And as Finn and Rey are trying to figure out just how to escape from the Falcon, Finn sarcastically suggests that they could step on the matter transporter, if such things existed. If you don't know what a matter transporter is, just ask Scotty to beam you up. And when Han finds Rey and Finn in the hidden compartments in the floor, Finn worries that Han might shoot first and ask questions later. And lastly, as Finn faces Kylo Ren in the cinematic lightsaber battle, the book mentions how Finn couldn't sense the energy that was driving Kylo, which I interpret as proof that Finn is force retarded. Oh yeah, and that giant pig animal that Finn shares a drink with, it's called a hapabor, and apparently people ride around on it, which should be interesting to see. But Kylo Ren is definitely one of the more vulnerable Star Wars villains we've seen in a while, and the novel further emphasizes this point. When Kylo speaks with Snoke, Snoke reveals that Kylo has much promise because he's a combination of the light side and the dark side. Snoke also reveals that he has seen the Galactic Empire rise and fall, and the reason the Empire failed was because of sentiment. The sentiment of Kylo's grandfather, Darth Vader. Now when Kylo finally meets Rey on Takodana, he accuses Rey of shooting first. Is Rey a Solo? While probing her mind, Kylo reveals that she has begun to develop feelings for Finn. We also see that Kylo is becoming almost nice and, quote, has a gentleness in his voice. He even admits that he takes no pleasure in forcibly extracting information from Rey's mind. And while in Rey's mind, he mentions that he can see an ocean and an island which means Rey somehow already had the knowledge of Luke's location in her head, perhaps from when she touched Luke's lightsaber. Kylo also notices, quote, something there of interest in Rey's mind, something that wasn't the map's location, but he isn't able to figure out what it is before Rey shuts him off. Later on, as Kylo meets again with Snoke, Snoke reveals that he senses Kylo has compassion for Rey. And after Kylo kills his father, Han Solo, he's surprised to find himself feeling weak. And no, it's not just because Chewie shot him with a bowcaster, something else inside of him is wounded. During the final battle on Starkiller Base, Rey shocks Kylo Ren by grabbing Luke Skywalker's lightsaber out of his grasp with the Force. Kylo replies, "Is it you?" We're not sure what he's referring to, but maybe he knows who Rey is. Maybe she's one of Luke's disciples. And as Kylo lay wounded on the ground, Rey hears the dark side call to her and almost kills Kylo, but she resists the urge. And as Starkiller Base begins to collapse, Kylo is saved by none other than General Hux and carried away to safety. Now this should make their future relationship very, very interesting. Princess General Leia reveals to Han Solo before he leaves for Starkiller Base that she had felt Snoke's influence on Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, when he was just a child, and tried to fight off his influence herself, but failed. Also, later on at the end of the movie, before Rey flies off in search for Luke, Princess Leia finds herself, quote, fiddling with the seals on the front of the jacket Rey was wearing, almost as if she were some over-anxious mother or aunt saying goodbye to her daughter or niece as she went on a dangerous adventure. Corcella is Leia's envoy. Most of her scenes were cut in the movie, but she has a few more scenes in the book. She was sent to the Hosnian Systems, the capital of the Republic, to warn the Senate about the threat of the First Order. Now you can see her briefly in the movie before the Hosnian system is destroyed by Starkiller Base. Now they don't talk much more about this incident, and I'm a bit surprised because literally billions of people die here. But who knows, maybe they'll talk more about it in future content. C-3PO has a larger role in the book. Although we don't find out why his arm has been replaced with a red appendage, we learn that he's messed up big time by forgetting to turn on BB-8's tracker, making it impossible for the Resistance to find the droid. C-3PO is so distraught from his mistake that he goes and seeks comfort from R2-D2, who is hibernating. Now this would have been a really nice scene to see because it really explores the relationship and friendship between these two droids. And also it uses the monologue to a sleeping friend trope. During this one-sided conversation, C-3PO asks R2-D2 what he would do in his situation. But suddenly C-3PO realizes R2-D2 would just send out a message to his massive network of droid acquaintances to keep an eye out for BB-8, which he does. And it was one of those droids in Maz Kanata's castle that alerted C-3PO when Rey and company walk in. We also find out as C-3PO is congratulating himself for finding BB-8 that Goldenrod has a humility limiter installed, although it doesn't seem to be working very well. And finally, when the Resistance is discussing how the missing part of Luke's map is in the Imperial archives, it triggers R2-D2 to wake up, and the droid announces that he has a copy of those archives, completing the map. It's always interesting reading a novel tied to a movie because movies always have to cut out so many details to appeal to mainstream audiences. But to people who really enjoy the lore and backstories of movies, novels are a great place to find just that. So let me know what you guys think about this new information. It definitely answers some old questions and creates a bunch of new ones as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And as always, if you're watching this, you are Generation Tech. Rey is obviously very interested in the rebellion. She even crafted a rebel pilot doll out of straw and some scraps at the age of 10. Number 4. Thomas Brodie Sangster from Maze Runner and Game of Thrones was also a First Order extra. He played a Solo and Leia Organa, and also sister, perhaps twin sister, of Kylo Ren. The second Rey gets behind the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon, this thought popped into my head.